I was taking a walk on a beautiful fall afternoon, and my cell phone rang back in early November. It was my cousin from Mississippi. It was one of those moments that you know something is wrong, as my cousin has never called me, not once in my life. My heart skipped a beat, and I picked up the call. I anxiously waited for him to pass by the small talk. You know, it's been a long time. How are you? How's the weather in California? And then it came. My Aunt Barbara, his mom, had just gotten out of brain surgery. She'd had both lung cancer and melanoma, just like my mother, and one of them had metastasized to her brain. My heart sunk into my chest, and I gathered all of the pertinent information, offered my heartfelt compassion to my cousin, and hung up. I was left standing on the sidewalk with a dilemma: what to do? My Aunt Barbara is my only surviving relative from my parents' generation. She was a very important figure in my life. I attributed her to inoculating me against all the childhood trauma that was part of my household growing up. When I went to visit her and my Uncle Billy, it was safe and sane. She taught me how to make cornbread. She taught me how to garden. She let me be a kid, and she nurtured and loved me. And I kept in touch with her over the years and would go to visit her as often as I could. Sitting on her back porch, hulling a bushel basket of black-eyed peas with her was home to me. I can remember the purple stains on my fingers from shelling those beans. During the Trump administration, things changed. My child, a young teenager at the time, came out as transgender. As I tried to share this news with my family, things didn't go so well. My family is from the Deep South and remained there, and my aunt began posting anti-trans propaganda on her Facebook feed. In spite of asking her to stop, it continued. So I took myself off social media. I stopped communicating with her. She'd reach out, but I could not bring myself to respond. I was angry and hurt, and my mother bear reflexes were operating in full force. And time passed. So, after hanging up from my cousin that day, I realized that I was awakened to a moment where I was facing an opportunity for a new start. I was standing there face to face with my own demons. I walked and I dialogued internally with myself. Can you let this go? Do you want to allow your aunt to die with this matter unresolved? Can you forgive her? What's really important to you here, Grenda? I was embarrassed and actually ashamed that I had let so much time go by. Could I have the courage to face those feelings? I was equally scared that she would die without me being able to see her and tell her how important she was to me. As I walked, I could hear a wiser voice surface inside that really created a deep sense of clarity for me. My aunt was born and raised in Mississippi. She's not moved beyond that little part of the world where she was born and raised. She worked in a factory. She went to a fundamentalist church where, as a kid, I helped her with Vacation Bible School. These are the churches where all good people go in my aunt's world. My aunt is a good person, really a remarkable person. The truth of the matter is, human beings disappoint. I tell couples I work with all the time, 100% of the time, we disappoint each other. We hurt each other, and when we grow to recognize and accept this as a reality, we are now inside of a real relationship, learning, growing, forgiving, and loving? Can we accept that life is not black or white, all or nothing? On that sidewalk, I realized that I was the one who needed to have the courage to swallow my pride and to change. It dawned on me, I've had the blessed privilege to move away from there, to get an education, to have a profession, to travel the world, and to gain perspectives about life that my aunt does not have from where she sits. On that sidewalk, clarity came, and I knew what I had to do. Over Thanksgiving, I went home. And in spite of having half her head shaved and a giant surgical scar where the surgeon had entered her skull, she stood over the stove and cooked for me, her husband, and my cousin. Against all of my protest to let me do it, she told me to get out of her kitchen and go sit down. In our typical Southern avoidance, we didn't speak about the divide that had been. We simply hugged each other and said, I love you. I reminisced with her about all the fond memories I had with her as a child, and I told her how important she was to me and how she always made me feel safe and loved. And in her deep Mississippi accent, she said, well, I did the best I could. And I realized that is the truth. She did. I've talked to my aunt regularly since I came home, and the cancer has returned. She told me that she's decided to have 3 rounds of radiation and then she's done. I told her I understood. We talked about fresh starts and how the end of this life is the beginning of something new, even if we don't know what that is from where we sit. That phone call from my husband, wow. I'm going to go to therapy after this. That phone call from my cousin was a wake-up call and a reminder that each moment offers us the opportunity for a fresh start, a do-over, a new beginning. And when we let love guide us, we are suddenly armored with everything we need to do to be courageous and to prioritize what really matters. What you didn't get to see in the story was that Seth Meyers wrote the book and he narrated it. But we got the blessed gift of Rick. But Seth Meyers' bear let fear stand in the way of living fully until the love for his friend Rabbit awakened him to the fullest potentials of his life. I let anger and hurt stand in the way of living fully until the love for my Aunt Barbara awakened me to the realization that life is precious and a new beginning is available to me in the moment if I only have the courage to choose it and to accept that us human beings are not all or nothing. And love has profound capacity for forgiving. I love the rituals of New Year's. It's an opportunity to pause and to consciously take an accounting, to be grateful, and to realign life with our own inner North Star. It's an opportunity to reflect on the preciousness of life and to appreciate that we are living on a time continuum, which means we only get so long here. But New Year's Day is but one such opportunity. With a shift in perspective, we can practice living from the mindset that every moment in every day, a new beginning is possible. And may we have the courage to be led forward into each new beginning by love. So I'm going to invite you all now to join me for a toast to the new year. Some of our wonderful friends are going to actually pass out some sparkling cider so that we can raise a toast together. So if you'll all please wait and take one, we'll toast the new year together. I also want to invite all those at home. If you have a glass of something, your cup of coffee, grab it and join us. Thank you, man. You know Anthony's amazing when he can just play the piano with one hand, right?
And work it with the other hand.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Everybody have one? Anybody missing one? It's probably easier. Anybody? All right. Let us toast to the courage it takes to embrace change, to step into the unknown, and to blossom into the fullest expression of ourselves. May this new year be a masterpiece of intention, filled with joy, growth, and the fulfillment of our deepest desires. May we collectively be a part of changing our world with love in action. Cheers, and may it be so. Yum.